We have actually there, we can see enthroned in the BBC penthouse, specially rented for such a personage.
A miracle in kind.
A miracle. I mean, actually, you should do some research on this species we see before us. It's a Dame Edna. Dame Edna, good evening.
Hello, Michael, and hello, David.
Good day.
You know, David, I could listen to you all night, and I almost feel I have. This is my luxury penthouse overlooking Times Circus in New York.
Times Circus?
And I want to ask you something, Michael.
Yes.
Why aren't you Lord Parkinson of Bray?
I thought that you... I'm gravely disappointed, and I'm so choked I can't speak. Thank you.
You should do a Sean Connery. You should throw a little bit of a tizzy. Stamp your foot. The Queen's an old softy, you know. And what about Liz Taylor? I was thrilled about her.
Yes.
She's been jealous of me for years, Michael and David. But now she's a dame for her services to jewellery. And think of all her wonderful films. Well, I can think of some, perhaps. And then there's Lord Burt. Has he looked into your studio yet?
We haven't
Lord
seen
Burt of Shepherd's Bush?
David, could I ask you a question? You're over in America. You've taken Broadway by storm, of course.
I have. It's wonderful.
And well-deserved, very well-deserved. But may I ask you, have you got family in America?
Well, I don't. Well, my son Kenny is designing my clothes here.
Yes.
And my dysfunctional daughter lives here with a retired Czechoslovakian tennis player, a strange woman. But I've done something very special and very millennial, David and Michael. You see, I have imported my mother, Gladys Beasley, from Australia. Here she is, for the first time on television. My mother. Can you see a superficial resemblance? I mean, she's like me, except, well, she's not in showroom condition, I'm afraid. In fact, I think she thinks she's still in Australia.
May I ask, Damon, how old your mother is?
Well, I don't know. Let's look at her. I have brought a wonderful Chinese geriatrician with me, Dr. Tang, and I'm hoping, because my mother may have been born in the 19th century, that she might make a bit of a record soon. Dr. Tang, just tell me, will she make it into the next century here? She will. My mother will soon be straddling 3 centuries.
That is absolutely...
I thought her straddling days were over, too.
Yes. Has she been able to share...
Isn't it exciting? I hate to interrupt you, but there's an echo in my earpiece. But I've heard the exciting news that Mr. Boris Yeltsin is going to be the next head of light entertainment at the BBC. That'll stir things up. He might revive that old age tradition of alcoholism. Who knows?
Now, we're all in a reflective mood here. Of course, Dame Edna, is she all right?
Yes.
Your mum,
a moment of tenderness, that's all. A moment of tenderness.
How did she manage in such a frail state to travel to America?
Well, first of all, she didn't know she was leaving the facility. She's in a maximum security twilight home. But I had holes in her box, so it was very comfortable, really.
Now, since we're in this mood to sort of look back and forward, I'd like to get from you, as an icon of the 20th century, your own view of some of the great people, the great names, your great heroes or heroines of the 20th century.
Well, I would have thought Mrs. Thatcher or Baroness Thatcher, Doris Day, Germaine Greer, Boadicea, Eleanor Roosevelt, Gertrude Stein, Joan of Arc. That's just the ones that spring to mind. Joan Bakewell. And of course, me.
Of course you, yes. Of course you.
What falsely modest woman I'd be if I didn't mention myself, Michael.
Well, what about people to watch then in the 21st century? Who would you recommend that we keep an eye on?
Well, I'm not sure of the young people's icons. I'm not sure that Madonna belongs in the 21st century. She's a little bit, I won't use the word passé, it's cruel. But I mean, perhaps Esther Ranson, do you think?
Ah, that's interesting.
Or Claire Rayner? I've always watched her with tremendous interest.
What has life taught you about happiness and contentment, Dame Edna?
Well, I've learnt a few lessons along the road, and this will interest you too, David. Are you still there, David?
I certainly am, hanging on your every
I
word.
haven't heard a word from you.
No, well, I'm naturally modest and quiet.
You're adorable, and the animals think so too. I know some animals who prefer you to Rolf Harris.
Not true.
Not many.
No,
not
no.
many. But, you know, one of the mistakes I've made has been that I've devoted too much time to my family and not enough to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think life is an experience of creative selfishness. I'm going to devote the next century to me. And that way I'll be able to help others more, I think. I bring a lot of joy into the world, and you do too. There are women out there still adoring you, Lord Parkinson, as I call you. Women who like a man who looks as though he sleeps face down on a chenille bedspread.
Now, how have the Americans taken to you? Because I would imagine that your very presence was a bit overwhelming to them.
It was.
Yes,
they're very conservative in America.
Yes.
Very conservative. And I gave them a little bit of a jolt because political correctness is not my forte. I speak the truth. I'm Jill Blunt. And they've come round to me. They really have embraced me, and that's beautiful because I see America as the Australia of the future, Michael. And the Australianization of the world is something that was pretty apparent, wasn't it, during those millennial celebrations. But what I want to know is you're in the 21st century.
Yes, true.
And I'm still in the 20th.
Yes.
So how does it feel? Has your cell phone exploded? Has that KY got to you? Have you had any trouble with the KY bug? Have you?
Not yet.
You're still... The computer at the bank is still working, I hope, Michael.
Yes,
You're still
hairdryer's
rich,
still
are you,
working.
darling?
Yes. Now, have you heard much attention from suitors in America? American men, have they? Stage door
Yes,
Johnnies,
I've had approaches. Henry Kissinger is one. Donald Trump.
Yes.
Prince Rainier of Monaco. Gore Vidal has been on his knees. Not for the first time, either. So, but I say no. I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy just... that is sharing a little bit of our experience, hope, and strength with our adoring possums.
Now, your mother keeps... she's there, and I can't quite make out...
She's partially here.
Is she understanding what's happening?
Are you understanding what's happening, Mummy? I think she is. As a matter of fact, don't be deceived. She's an artful woman, and she's as strong as an ox, Michael. She'll outlive all of us, I think.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, David Attenborough, what do you think about this this first meeting you've had with Dame Edna?
Well, she is, as she says, younger than us,
Yes.
in that she's still living in 1999, but she's really remarkably well preserved, isn't she, for even so?
I am. I think it's just because I think nice thoughts.
Really? Really? Is that what makes your hair curl?
Well, I was born this colour, and I only now realise where I got it from. My mother dyed her hair brown for years, and I was a lonely child. I thought I was an isolated case. And now I find, since I've cut back on her hairdressing at the hospital, that this is her natural colour. She's been deceiving me all this time, Michael.
All right. Well, Dame Edna, can we come back to you in just a moment, because we've got a rather special sketch here that we want to put in first of all. There's a featuring French and Saunders, two other people who you admire inordinately.
I adore them.
You do, I know that.
I'll be watching them in the 21st century.
Well, indeed. Okay. Let's have a look at this special sketch then, them at the Dome. Well, let's cross to Dame Edna Everidge and see what she'd made of all that. Three of your icons there, Dame Edna.
Oh, weren't they gorgeous? What joy they bring to us all. There is a little underlying current of anxiety about this festival, don't you think? The hysteria. I'm looking out of my window now. This is my own penthouse, viewers, in case you've just tuned in, and it's Dame Edna talking to Michael Parkinson and David Attenborough. And down here in Times Circus, they've got 1,000 portable toilets. 1,000 portable toilets. But there is, of course, if people want to wash their hands, they're there. But unfortunately, there are some people crammed in there so tightly, they have to wash their hands under their anoraks, many of them, sadly. I can see some of them doing it.
All right. Well, Dame Edna, thank you very much indeed for joining
very
us.
Uncomfortable down there.
I'm
sorry?
I was just thanking you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We have to move on. As midnight moves towards you, we move more distantly away from you.
I know, but thanks for letting me know it's safe to move in to the 21st century.
Dame Edna Everidge, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
And a very happy new year when it arrives in America.